Yeah, it's just on the whole
This meeting by forwarding the county clerk and all other news media who have requested the same. We're available for inspection at the office of the city administrator. Roll call.
Carol Anderson.
Here.
Steve Donlevy. Here. Bob McGrath.
Here.
Riley Silver. Here. Dan Zeller.
Here.
Attorney Calvert.
Three, invocation and pledge. Lord, give us the strength and wisdom to make the citizens a suitable power, so that we prosper and grow as one.
To the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to item 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried to approve the agenda as stated. The motion minutes as presented from city council and special council. Yes.
I just saw one thing on there, under the consent agenda, C and F were the same, so I'm not sure if that's how it was on F. Probably only need one vote.
Nope, the reason for that is, the first one was to finish out this year through the 30th. It had a ownership change, or owners come in. So that one was through up until June 30th, and then the next one is to the next, June 30th through July 1st.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried to approve the minutes as stated. Moving on to number 6, for public input, allowed 5 minutes. You need to stand up, state your name, address, and you want to keep it civil, please. So, any public input? Jack?
Of course. Jack Garvin, 361 Van Dyke, member of the Tourism Committee. 2 topics, a real quick one for 7A correspondence. Please bear in mind what the Tourism Committee has asked previously in the past couple weeks, so when we discuss that. Enough of that. More importantly, what I really came for is a huge thank you. Little League guys this weekend, Joe Bailey, Stelmacher, the guys did a fantastic job. Johnny B, the grounds crew from Park and Rec did an absolutely fantastic job. Boltwood looked great. The grounds looked great. I heard it at least 10 times at the restaurant this weekend. Connell looked great. We don't say thank you enough. We need to do more of that, but all those guys did a fantastic job. I know there was a few minor issues at home with some golf cart stuff, but when you jam 2,000, 3,000 people in there, something's going to happen. That's just life. So, but overall, fantastic job. I bought those guys pizzas this morning, so it was great. I know we did well. I'm sure everybody else did well. So we looked good. Kyle looked good.
Thank you, Jack. Any other public input?
I'm Tammy Gold, 3670 for Myron Road. I have a question. So if I have input for what's on number 9, can I just give a statement 9 now about it? Okay. So I'm here really just to state that the night of that altercation at BJ's, I was there. I was not drinking. I do not drink. It was my niece's birthday party. That's why we were there. I was the one who went over as soon as the words were exchanged and and asked the guy to leave multiple times, and he made a gun threat. That's why the cops were called, because he threatened that he had a gun in his bike and was gonna cap the short F word if he came outside. That's exactly what happened. I then made I had 3 daughters there, asked my daughters, get your crap, you never know if this stuff is serious or not in today's world, get your stuff, let's leave. We were outside, my husband, prior to that happening, he was outside because he had a business call. He watched, the guys finally did leave, went outside and started calling people to come. He watched the whole entire thing. I then went back in, got some friends of ours, made sure my daughters left. As we're walking out, we said to them, guys, it'd be a good idea to just leave. Just go, it's his sister's party and let it go. They told me to mind my effing own business. And then by that time, the girls had showed up and 2 or 3 black guys. I had made a call to my daughter, my only daughter that was left in there, and said, you guys need to leave. Somebody better make sure that the cops show up. The cops showed up and I thought everything was gonna be great. Past that, I was not in there, but the fight never broke out until the cops were already in the building. There was not a fight. This was not a call because there was a fight that broke out. It was a call because a guy made a gun threat and would not leave. That's what it was about. So I just wanted to make that. I did file an official statement about it. I don't know whatever was done with it, but I did go down. So that was Saturday night. I went down Monday morning and filed an official statement. Lieutenant, I think she's a lieutenant. I don't know Crocker. I think she's a lieutenant. She took my statement and sworn it and everything. So I don't know how we got to, when I watched the council meeting, somebody saying, well, this is serious. They called several cops just to transport people. That is not why the cops were there. They responded to a gun call in his protocol that anybody in the area responds to a gun call. So I just wanted to make that clear. And I was not drinking, so I was very clear what happened that night. And it was over 2 girls, me and the guy. Blake wasn't even involved in the altercation at first, at all. So there was no punches exchanged prior to this, nothing. Nothing happened until after the cops came. So I just wanted you to know that.
Tammy, can you spell your last name?
Yeah, it's B as in boy, O-H-L.
Thank you, Ben. Any other public input? One more time, any other public input? Moving on to correspondence. Ready?
First, I want to say you have 2 agendas that I put at your desk before this meeting. One is for the special meeting to approve Dollar General's liquor license, and the other one is for a hearing before the council that was requested on agenda item 9B. So when we get to that item, we can bypass it because we can't make any motions until this hearing takes place.
Okay. Any other correspondence?
I just wanted to put a little information on here for the room tax. The room tax is it's still a little bit in progress. You can see I included in your packet the room tax ordinance that was approved last year in July. It does state out that it's an 8% room tax, and it does appoint OCDC or Ted 4 now as our tax tourism entity. So 70% of the money goes to them to use for the city tourism, and then 30% stays with the city. So that's kind of where we are at currently. I think that the room tax definitely will change over time. We really don't know what kind of tax dollars revenue we're going to be getting in for that yet. With it being so new, but that's where we are at currently with that. I don't know if anyone has questions.
So the question that I have is the tourism committee is asking for them to be the handlers of this month, is what I'm understanding. But it was already approved that we have this TED or OCDC. So for them to become handlers, this would all have to change.
The ordinance would have to change, yep. The reason why the previous council made that decision is because in the future, we intend for quite a few revenue dollars to come in under road tax. And their intention was, we want someone who has the resources, the experience, they're gonna be financially smart and really efficient with our money. So that's why they decided to use Tech4, because they're tourism and marketing wise.
So if the tourism committee was to go further with this, would they have to come to council then if they were to manage the money, or is that what the commission is going to do? Will we be council?
That would be a council decision.
Okay.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, the council would really decide kind of what their power is, what they can approve on their own, what they can't.
And that's why this isn't really just as simple as just saying, turn the tourism committee into a tourism commission.
Okay.
It's not that simple. There are multiple ordinances in play.
Okay.
And in terms of a tourism committee, we have to be creating an absolute new ordinance, new. So again, we've got multiple things in play, and that's why it's just not quite as simple as just a motion and turn them from a committee to a commission. With something, there's a lot of things that people can.
But at this point, we're not also taking consideration on it.
No, I mean, it's just something that everybody's got to take a look at.
Bob, why does it have to be a commission? The tourism committee is just that. Committee. So right here, that the committee, subject to the general control and supervision of the common council, shall have general powers to rule the affairs. We as a council should have more control over the committee. So I understand we have the airport commission because it's county, city. We have the utility commission because it's public service station. We have the library commission because it's county, city. But I don't see where we want to have the commission for tourism. And in fact, $4,400 is received right now. If you go with the 70/30, the city will probably receive $1,520. Therefore, we already have a promoter for the city of Ottawa. It's called Ottawa Economic Development or TEDCO. That's me a question.
Well, you're asking me a question, I'll answer it.
I want the commission.
I'll answer the question you want.
And again, that's something that's going to have to be discussed. There's a difference between committees and commissions, and again, there's going to have to be a lot of thought into this whole process.
That's why it's not a simple process. Most commissions, not all, most commissions are set up by Wisconsin state statute. All the ones you just listed are required by statute. So that's kind of the difference. They have more power, they have more opportunity to make decisions on.
I mean, basically, when the last few years ago, we were looking for cuts. The department was looking for cuts. I did not see any cuts coming. Well, I did see $3,000 in Officer Chief. That was there, but then the following year, I read the $9,000 over budget. We found 10,000, and you asked for that, and we received. So therefore, if you're over budget, sometimes you have to say no to it. Sometimes you can't give the money you want, therefore, to be a commission, you give away the power that the city council has, bring a budget. Because they have to bring us a budget every year. And basically, they should know what they're spending. So you can bring a budget to us if you want. Any other questions, Carol?
Yeah, how is this being monitored? How do we know how many rooms are rented a week, a month, a year, whatever? Do the owners, do the operators, do we just take their word for it and catch them in line, or is it shame on you, or how does this get done?
Jamie, can you answer that question?
Sure, Jamie Sling with TechCore. So it depends on if we're talking about a hotel motel, those revenues, there's a form that they have to fill out. If it's a short-term rental, those dollars come through the marketplace, like Airbnb or VDR or whatever that is. It's harder for the short-term rentals because we can't, currently you don't have a short-term rental ordinance, correct? So in other communities, they have a short-term rental ordinance that requires that short-term rental on a quarterly basis to file a report of exactly how many times it's been rented out, how much room tax it's paid in. When you get a payment from one of those marketplaces, it's just a payment of all of the dollars that have been collected within the city. It does not give you a line item of, this address paid this much. So it's a little bit harder to determine if they are paying in full, but that's something that we're gonna help you with to get some of those who are not in compliance. We're gonna help you, with Attorney Peller's help to send letters to them and make sure that they are aware of the ordinance and, all the other things, because there's health inspections and all sorts of other things that they should comply with in order to be permitted or licensed. I apologize, I don't have a good answer for you on the short-term rental side. Well, that's a work in progress, but the hotel, we do get, there should be reports right now.
So one of the things we have to do now is,
Right, for the short-term rental, there's a lot of moving parts that go into meal tax, and we just need more help with it. So that's why it's good to have an entity that has experience in that can help us with it. The meal tax is a huge thing, and it's just taking a lot of time to really fully implement it, I guess you could say.
And I would note, I mean, we did pass and we have a rental registration ordinance where we're supposed to get registration so that we know which ones are out there. But honestly, right now, I mean, that was kind of being monitored and handled by the building inspector. We don't have that position. So I don't know that that's being monitored very well right now.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, if not, we move on to item 8, approval of consent agenda. Approval of appointment of Ashley Geller to the Tourism Committee as a non-voting advisory member for a 2-year term ending May 1st, 2026. And approval of low bid for Spies Road reconstruction project.
Make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Riley.
I'll second.
Joe. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried to approve consent agenda. Moving on to 9. Discussion, action, recommendation on the following old unfinished business. Renewal alcohol beverage license application for Tracy Boswick located at 218 Park Ave. Yes, Chief Dufek.
Thank you. My recommendation for the renewal of this license is on probationary status. And the reason that I asked for that is because not of particularly of the incident that happened at the bar, but because of how the cooperation was with the investigation. Now, as part of this ordinance, the liquor license ordinance, there's an investigation area. As part of the investigation area, when there is question about a liquor license, it is brought forth with all the information that I may have as the chief, the city council, whatever may be involved. So with that incident, was it significant? Was it severe? Yes, it was, because we had to have 4 agencies there. The part with the liquor license that is my concern is the lack of cooperation from the owner. Now, that is not okay when we are doing an investigation. And my suggestion is that, looking in the ordinance, we can either do a suspension or revocation. I suggest a probationary status, if that can be done, for a minimum of 1 year.
Yes,
Isn't there a point system that we keep track of incidences that occurred at an establishment?
There is a point system, however, some of the ordinance is not in that point system. For example, disorderly conduct prohibited. It says under the conditions of the license that each licensed premises shall not be conducted in a disorderly, riotous, or indecent manner. That, however, is not on the point system.
so, go ahead, Bob.
If you look in your ordinance, it's usually a point system. We discussed this, and yesterday, quite frankly, we're not doing it right the way we do things. We grant these licenses, and they give us basically this goal, that we're gonna do this, or we have a license for this. We've already passed for, now, up to 60 days. We need to do more. I really think after you give the license, you need to have the point system. I want to give you the whole ordinance, the whole liquor license ordinance. And then you hand it to them, when they come and get your liquor license, you let them sign a paper that you got it. Whether they read it or not, I don't care. They have it. They know about the point system, I believe there's like 175 points. Once you get up there, it doesn't mean if you go on probation, that that's bad. Anytime you have a violation, and I see here now we have some, the city council should know about anything. Underage drinking, after hours, fights, everything, so that we can go back and say, yeah, we need to have a talk with these people. And that's the way it should be. So I think to give them this whole liquor license chapter, have them sign a paper that they got it, and then we start doing it every time. The other reports, we can go back, as a council, decide if there should be a suspension, probation, or revoke.
I don't disagree. You've got to do better policing of this. Keith,
Cassie's point, it sounds like there may be some changes that need to be, I'm sure I'll be included on that, and I'm understanding that factor as well.
yes.
Yeah, I don't remember, I don't recall how many on the point system, but it's mostly for after hours, serving, underage kids, stuff like that. There's nothing with actions or facility stuff.
And like Bob was saying, we would attach that with your liquor license. So you would have that ordinance saying, if it's 175 points, you lose 20, I don't know the exact ones, but you'd lose 25 points with the mayor or underage drinking or so on and so forth. It is in there and it's stated, but I think we've got to review it twice.
I think the most points you can lose is 100, and most of them are 25 to 50 point range. So something that I didn't see until I went through the whole thing, the merit system should have been used many years ago.
Yes.
And once you get to that point, 175, 150, that's lost so much. It doesn't mean that you won't be suspended, it's just it means it's time to play the game and say, look, what's going on? I mean, there's a lot of times now, that's what chief. I brought it up about people leaving the bar, having bottles of beer and mixed drinks. Aqua Fest was one. That's up to people that run these establishments, that supervision that says, no, you can't do that. And I walked downtown many times after that. It's not so bad anymore, but there used to be broken beer bottles, there used to be liquor, pharmacy windowsills. And it's just not supposed to happen. We need to do better, and I think we can.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody else got a question, comment,
I've
Lori?
got a question. So what my question, I guess, is if it was that bad, if she was that disruptive or that belligerent, how come like a disorderly conduct wasn't given, or how come, she wasn't arrested or something like that? I guess I'm just not sure why it's coming back to us when it didn't happen on that day that something was done.
She was close to being arrested and was actually warned for being arrested for disorderly conduct. However, there were several others who were arrested
Okay,
and there was not enough hearing.
okay. That
So,
just clears that up a little.
and
as
that
far
is
as
why
law.
that is why the bar was told it was going to be shut down for the rest of the night.
Anybody else got any questions or comments? Darrell?
Yeah. I I'm the one who asked to see these, the calls from all the bars here in town, to see just what's been going on. And, several of the bars have several calls. I guess I'm wondering why there wasn't probation or something said about these other bars. DJ's on the corner here, to me, seems like it's got the best record. And I don't think, that we should make light of that. It's, we've had a couple of calls, I mean, you can't, a gas leak and a missing person isn't their fault. No, that's not a disturbance call, she's had two, the rest of them had several. And we've never had anything brought to the council. Since we've been on, years ago when I was on Everking's council, about putting anybody on probation. This is why I wanted to see what was going on with the rest of these bars and how the calls are going.
Some of these may have changed owners.
Well, I asked this for the last 3 years. Because that's how.
I'm just looking at January 2021.
So, because that's how long Tracy has been in business. Granted, the Patriot Bar has only been in business for a matter of a couple of months, and they've got some calls already, so I'm not quite sure why we're going to make a big deal of this one.
Chief Dufresne?
I'll explain why. Because every other disturbance that we've been to at any other bar is handled it's either been outside or it is handled by the owner before we even get there. And it usually turns into an unwanted party. This was not. This was where the officers were trying to do their jobs and I had one officer in there and the fight ensued. So because there was a weapon that was said to possibly be involved, that's why all of those other departments came. Now, there was cooperation in the very beginning from the owner until her son's girlfriend was arrested, and then it was all downhill from there. There wasn't, we asked for evidence and she didn't want to cooperate with that, or was, iffy on if she wanted to. That's the difference. The difference is how it was handled by the owner. Other ones, completely fine. This one, and we've had continued disrespect from this owner with other incidents that have happened with our department. It is not okay for a business owner to treat law enforcement and to talk to law enforcement the way that she has.
Any other comments, questions? Normally, you would have to speak in public comment.
I called and asked her that, and she said I'd be able to talk during mine because.
I apologize for that miscommunication, but I will understand.
Okay, go ahead.
Tracy Boswick, 5302 County Road S. So I disagree with a lot of that has been said, and I have witnesses that actually prove that. I gave them the video. I showed them what was happening. However, I'm not gonna lie, angry mama clause came out when my daughter got punched in the face. My son was being choked. And then they all started getting arrested when I was clearly seeing on the video that that's not what, yeah, so I did get angry. I apologize for that, but I didn't get said, no one said, you're gonna get a disorderly. What he said to me was, shut the F up or I'm gonna take your liquor license, what was his words. And I have witnesses on that also, but that's what was said to me. But I shut down when they told me to. I cooperated. I had my DJ actually was helping me get the video so he could see it. So I'm not quite sure. Did I get angry at one time? Yes, when my kids started getting arrested and punched and nothing was really being done at that point. So I do have to say I did. I know I got angry. But I think any mother would do the same thing if it was their kids. And then most of the party that trespassed back into my bar were the ones being questioned and not anybody, my bartender wasn't questioned, like nobody in my party was questioned. You know, we were having a 30th birthday party for my daughter who just was pregnant for 9 months and she, you know, we were having a good time until these people walked in, we got them to leave and then they came back and actually I feel it was more of an assault. They came into the bar, they didn't order drinks. My bartender asked them to leave plenty of times. I guess as bar owner, like I did what we were supposed to do by calling the cops and then the fight broke out and then, you know, I don't know what else they wanted me to do, but I did cooperate. I disagree with you not cooperating. Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion? When you ask somebody to leave your bar and they don't leave, that's when I would call the police immediately.
But I did. I did.
Okay.
I did. We called, as soon as he walked out the door, we called. The cops came, and then they had like 8 people, and them too came back in. The cops were in the bar at that time.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the council? Or,
I think my biggest thing on this is I don't want to set a precedence, and I'm hoping it wouldn't. To do that, if we were to put this bar on probation, say we were, what are the other bars gonna think if a fight breaks out? Are they gonna think I'm gonna wait until there's a bloodbath on the floor until I call the cops? Or, you know, because they don't want to be put on probation, so I'm worried about that fact. Do you think that would have anything to?
Again, my fights happen at bars.
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah.
My whole reason for this was yes, at the very beginning, she did show videos, but then that quickly changed. And then it changed even after that. And it still is going on with other things. So I can't talk about both incidents because it's still an open investigation, but once that is done, I will be happy to share that report with you. And it's the reports from county deputies, from O'Connell Falls officer, and from my officers. So once that is done, you guys can see all that.
Right now, we can't worry about making excuses. What happens about the other bars? I mean, if there's a fight, and they know they're going on probation. Probation isn't the end of your license. We're not suspending it, we're not revoking. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yes, what happened at BJ, it was a very clean eye-opener. I mean, we have SWAT cars, people in jail, I don't care what, that's an eye-opener for the city. And that's where we should have been doing better for the city council. We should have been giving this over 12 years ago. And we should be going like this. This is why we have our ordinance. I'm not trying to make anybody a scapegoat, but this was an eye-opener. And now we need to start getting better at what we do. Just don't grant these licenses. We come back and we act on it.
yes, Steve.
One last question. So Daryl asked for this, is this something that the council should be getting on a monthly basis to kind of track what's happening with the different establishments?
Sure.
You can get that.
That's what I asked for.
That's easily done, right? Yeah.
I guess, Chief said there's all the reports to come in. I'd like to see them reports before I would give a opinion if we do anything to it, to BJ's.
Unfortunately, you can't wait past this meeting to wait till June 30th. The June 30th, her current license is expired, so she will need a license approved to that date. So the decision, unfortunately, I get that wrong.
You could grant a probationary 1 week
off of probation, and they, once we saw the reports, they would not do the other options.
In other words, we would recommend probation at this point. And then once we have a chance to read all the reports, we can decide whether or not people are on probation or if they're not.
That would be a possibility.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
If not, we need a recommendation on 9A, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the license application, the probation when we look back after we see, until we see these reports. Does that satisfy everybody? Do we have a second?
Darrell, what are your concerns?
I don't think it should be probation, I don't think we should be, making, her pay for something that a bar owner or bartender doesn't have any control over. You can control who walks in the door and what happens after the reunion. They followed the protocol, they called the police, they did everything they were supposed to do, and now we're gonna punish them for it besides. I'm really right.
Well, you actually do have control over the situation, it's called security. And in this ordinance, there is, where the patron of the bar has the right to feel safe. Therefore, as a bar owner, you have to have security there. A lot of examples. I mean, I could use Sheets, which one, I'll probably find it, when you set there at the bar, this is like, we're gonna close you, and the village is gonna do something. Therefore, we went in front of the village, we put on probation, and we basically had people get more security. Like I said, Sheriff's Department was not going.
Suggesting that every bar should have a bounce room
Well,
every night they're open?
every bar should be secured. When a fight breaks out in the bar, the patrons there have the right to feel safe. Therefore, whenever there's a fight, it should be squashed as fast as it can.
So that's why they call it police.
So it seems like it escalated. No, I'm not, I just want to make sure that we're waking up to what's happening. These aren't just licenses developed by Canada. I mean, lately, they seem like they're basically hobby. 2 or 3 days old. We used to bring people in. I remember restaurants like Jack and Del Taylor, the pizza, brought people in, we had washings. It was focused 7 days a week.
Can you please focus on what we're dealing with here? And
That's
let's
what
go back
I
and
do. These licenses aren't supposed to be hobbies, it's supposed to be regular living.
Well, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a different motion.
I'll make a motion that we, approve her liquor license without probation. And, as Bob states, we'll work on this point system and for all of us.
I'll second that motion. I do understand, Chief, that I completely understand your concern with like behavior and how that, I 100% agree that is totally appropriate. That being said, I think that this should be the wake-up call that when they show up again, it should be a different, it should be exactly as she described, it should be full compliance with that. I hope that this discussion bringing you in here, getting all that is a little bit of just a friendly reminder that this can go, it can go the other direction, it can go south, and we could get our ducks in a row with the point system and whatever, but I agree with Daryl, it's, which is why I second that motion, but Chief, I 100% understand, I hope that it resonates with you guys and everyone else that you need to do, the law enforcement shows up, you just come out, no matter what. So, I support you, and I 100% get where you're coming from. I just think that so it's nothing against your recommendation, I don't mean to defy you, but I totally get what Daryl says too, and I really hope this, opens up some eyes and everything as far as future performance and behavior on behalf of all of our members.
Have a motion on the floor, and a second. We'll call it in. Any more discussion?
Lori Sentra,
Aye.
Dan Zeller,
Aye.
Daryl Anderson,
Aye.
Dee Donlevy, Bob McGrath,
No.
Riley Sol.
Motion has been approved for renewal license for BJ's Park. 9B, that will be discussed for handle next week at our special meeting on Tuesday. Okay, moving on to 10, discussion, action, recommendation on the following new business. Approval of renewal alcohol beverage license application from Twin Brothers Supper Club located at 532 Jefferson Street, and appointment of agent Santiago Morales Lori.
I'll make the motion. Second.
You second?
Dan Zeller,
Yes.
Daryl Anderson,
Yes.
Dee Donlevy, Bob McGrath,
Aye.
Riley Sol,
Aye.
Lori Sentra.
Aye.
Moving on to 10B, approval renewal alcohol beverage license application from Family Dollar Stores of Wisconsin LLC located at 1114 Main Street, and appointment of agent of Deborah Neiman.
That's the correct speed, isn't it?
Nope, that's Dollar General.
Sorry.
Yes, Bob?
I have a question. Is there a date set that these things are supposed to be in? I mean, come on, if you're running a business, my God, the first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that.
Yes, there is. This year, I believe it was April 22nd, if I remember correctly. A lot of times, I think it's intimidating for bar owners to turn it in. Maybe, I'm just assuming because they're frequently late. It is hard, but if they can get to the meeting before June 30th, we're happy. Special meetings don't make us very happy, but
So the other people that do the right thing are gonna be penalized. If you guys are waiting until this, you need to June, or I guess it's 2 weeks before. Because you have to
well, it
have
has to be published in the newspaper and it has been set for 15 days.
So, I mean, there's another thing that we should be more in tune that. First thing I did is I'm gonna do is make sure that I've got everything in. Not gonna feel like it, but it should be.
And maybe that's why renewal, we say, hey, if you don't have it in by May 20th or whatever, we can do that. Can we do that? I don't know.
No, you can't really,
You
but
can charge a penalty, and I did put it on your agenda for next week to talk about it.
But we even discussed, on some of these, aren't being filled out very well either, in terms of describing the premise, if they're, we need to educate them better on filling those out. Some of these are using patio areas and they're not describing that in the license. You need to do it on the grounds and all that stuff, so I think some of it is education.
Yeah, I just watched a webinar from the Department of Revenue on liquor licenses. They've had a couple updates this year. They're really pushing harder for premise descriptions this year. I'm really like focusing on those. They're not supposed to change at all from year to year without council approval. So we do need to get better on being more strict on that. And again, I think people don't know, they're intimidated by it, but we need to have a better process to educate them. which we just, but we'll have something in place for next year.
Like an example we can give you, not to pick on you, Tracy, but if you, in your license, when you use that, when you say, this is the address, the only reason I'm saying yours is there's a bar downstairs and there's a residence upstairs. If you just use the address, now from a commercial standpoint and fire inspection, you're getting inspected down below and up above, those kind of things. So, and including a patio area. So some of those things need to be educated better. We can do better from our standpoint and from the bar standpoint. Sorry, didn't mean to pick,
No, that's fine.
just I used
It's
it,
a
yeah. But those kind of things we just need to let them know. And about getting it done tonight.
I'll make the motion to go through the Family Dollar Store.
Roll call vote.
Daryl Anderson,
Yes.
Pete Donlevy, Bob LaBrach,
Aye.
Riley Sol, Lori Senza, Dan Zeller.
Moving on to 10C. It's a recommendation from Finance Committee, approval of accounts payable for the month of May 2024 in the amount of $304,422.85. Payroll for the month of May 2024 in the amount of $237,749.89, and other financial reports as presented.
Pete Donlevy, Bob LaBrach,
Aye.
Riley Sol,
Aye.
Lori Senza, Dan Zeller, Daryl Anderson.
Moving on to 10D, recommendation from the Planning Commission, approval of certified survey map for Paul and Allison Retzloff, located in the city of O'Connell.
No, something separate. The planning commission did approve the CSM. Paul and Allison have 2 lots, and this is a CSM to combine those 2 lots. It did go to the county for review, and there was just one issue that needed to be corrected, but that was corrected. So they did approve that.
So I'll make a motion to approve the CSM for calling us.
Bob LaBrach,
Aye.
Riley Sol,
Aye.
Lori Senza, Dan Zeller,
Aye.
Daryl Anderson, Pete Donlevy.
Okay, recommendation from the Planning Commission to approve certified survey map for Vantage Point Property Management located in the city of O'Connell.
This CSM was approved by planning commission contingent to some changes that needed to be made. That was not at any fault of Mach 4, the surveyor. That was at my fault. We sent it over to the county for recommendations, and then I sent it over to the surveyor to make those corrections. I didn't get that over to him until today. So we did not have much time to make those changes. They stated they will make those changes. This is just from Cody Evers. They have a duplex that they are turning into a condo. So, like I said, there are quite a few changes that need to be made on this. Most of them are just small spelling errors or words
Would be the one
not
on
included.
Fifth Street, right?
Yep, correct.
So one that new cap built.
Yep, they're turning it into a condo. So, like I said, the surveyors stated that they would make all those changes as quickly as possible, then we'll send it back to the county, verify everything was changed and everything's correct. So the planning commission did approve that contingent to those changes being completed.
Any other questions or comments on that?
I'll make a motion to accept the certified survey map for Vantage Point Property Management.
Second?
We have that contingent to the
Riley Sol.
Aye.
Lori Senza. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson. Pete Donlevy. Bob LaBrach.
Okay, moving on to number 11. Council may vote at approximately 6:51 PM, convene into closed session pursuant to notice duly given and as allowed by Wisconsin Stats 19.5, Pair 1, Pair C, for the following items. Superintendent of Public Works vacation time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We move into closed session.